gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
White people do not inherently have empathy, and it's something that I've talked about for more than a year. And one of the reasons is because it has not been modeled. If you look at the epigenetic nature of white folks, especially European Americans, white American people, there is this long-standing history of violence. And there has been no effort, no intentions, no work for white people to unpack it. So it doesn't really matter what type of community. It doesn't matter what the effort. White people don't have any practice in doing anything that is anti-oppressive. The things they have practiced doing together is violence, right? Is coming together to do what? Overthrow the government. Coming together to do what? Perform a lynching. Coming together to what? Perform violence. Win a war. Play a game. Do a thing, right? To others. What has to happen first and foremost before there's any movement for white folks around change, around justice, around progress, is they have to first unpack that inherent violence that sits in them. Now, they cannot do that, right, unless they're under some sort of leadership, coaching, and mentorship of people who are more marginalized than they are. So what happens in these other spaces where you may have neurodivergent folks or queer folks or, whatever, right? There are all these other marginalized identities that people fail to realize that unless you are black, those other marginalized identities do not outweigh the marginalization of black people. And when black people are queer or neurodivergent or, older or in a fat body or anything else, right, the marginalization is greater than anybody that's white.
Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this video because, for one, I want you to understand the mindset of the modern sister, how she thinks, how she views the world, how she perceives herself. This whole tirade is essentially her succumbing to the victim mindset. And you have a lot of these women who just want to be a victim so bad. And she is marginalizing white people, right? She's generalizing white people. She's being bigoted against white people and saying that they lack empathy and they need to be counseled by people who are oppressed. And if you look at the epigenetical history of white people and all this kind of stuff, I mean, for one, epigenetics is a bullshit pseudoscience. So, you're not going to inherit the behaviors of, your ancestors in that way. Meaning, your great-grandfather, let's just say, your great-grandfather beat the hell out of his wife or something like that. That doesn't mean that you're going to do the same 2 generations passed down. So, the fact that they keep pushing this type of rhetoric and trying to link today's white people to maybe their forefathers or maybe people who look like them they had no relation to, it's just insane. It's not fair, and that's not what we would want people to do to us, yet we're doing it to these people, and it's translating in many different ways. When you see the way that black people interact with people of other races in society, as a whole, I'm not saying on an individual basis, but we're starting to see a amping up of disrespect towards cultures that are not melanated. And obviously we're going to continue to see melanated people delete each other, but now it's leaking out. I've done stories on it before. I just did the story on the young super teen gremlin who slapped the mess out of this white guy walking in the park. I mean, these types of things are going to amp up if we do not really address these internal issues that, you know, and I'm going to say we, I don't feel the way that she feels, but I'm going to say we because I think it's fair. You know, we have to address these internal issues and why she feels the need to project in this way. If you're unhappy with your current situation, your current stance in life, you can only blame yourself. You can't blame a whole demographic of people just because you're not in the place that you want to be in your life. And that's really what all this comes down to. These people have failed at whatever they thought they were good at, whatever they thought they were going to be in life. They failed at it. And now they have to find a reason for their failure. And the easiest scapegoat is systematic oppression.
We now know the name of the man police are searching for in the brutal shooting death of a father and son.
This is video of the murders has been circulating online. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor is in East Flatbush with an update.
47-year-old Vladimir Mathurin and his 27-year-old stepson, Chinwe Mood, were shot dead Sunday night, police say, by their downstairs neighbor, 47-year-old Jason Pass, who they had an ongoing noise dispute with. A video camera on the 4th floor of the Flatbush Gardens complex at 1418 Brooklyn Avenue shows Pass, who lives below on the 3rd floor, arguing with Mathurin's wife. Mathurin then comes out holding up what police say are scissors. His wife tries pulling him away as Pass then pulls out a gun. We're stopping.
So as you can see, white people are not the only ones who have violence passed down in their epigenetics. So you have these two black men, you know, people are going to say, oh, they're not FBA, they're not ADOS, they're not this, they're not that, they're not foundational blacks, they weren't born here. I don't care, okay? They're here now, and they can't get along. You have I think they said the man was 47 or 57, the one wielding the weapon, or the firearm rather, because they both have weapons. The other guy had scissors. They get in a dispute over a noise complaint. And instead of sitting down, talking it out like two brothers, like two black men, they can't agree. So much so that this brother with the firearm shoots the man while he's walking away. I mean, the conflict resolution in the black community is completely non-existent at this point. And it's sad that we have come to this conclusion, but it's the only conclusion. It's the right conclusion. It's the correct conclusion. It's the apparent conclusion. And, you know, we got to do better at talking things out. If you watch the whole video, this dispute was actually initiated by the guy in the white shirts, in the white tee's wife. And when the dude in the navy jacket ends up shooting him, she runs for her life and locks the door behind her, leaving her husband there for his final shot from this super gremlin in the navy blue. This whole scenario was insane. It was tragic. It was unnecessary. It was avoidable. But it pretty much lines up with everything that we talk about on this channel, being that these super gremlins are on demon time.
The video here. The NYPD says Pass shoots Mathurin and Mood and calmly flees the scene. The NYPD says Pass had called 311 6 times since March 2022 on his upstairs neighbors over what sounded like banging on the floor.
Noise complaints, basically people walking. We come to find out the apartment upstairs didn't have carpeting. It was a wood floor, so a lot of noise, people walking back and forth generated.
Wow. And if they just would have talked it out, he could have said, man, our floors don't even have carpet, so that's probably why you're hearing all that noise. But no, because the conflict resolution is so trash, we couldn't get to that point.
these calls.
Building management says there were numerous complaints from both apartments and that mediation was offered but never done. On Monday, CBS 2 spoke with the victim's wife and mother, who says Pass banged on the ceiling, so her husband banged on the floor back.
My husband have no gun, no weapon. Why would you bring your gun to shoot?
So there goes the wife. If you watch the video, she closes him. She locks him out of the crib, but we can talk about that later.
My family. Why would you bring your gun to tear my family apart? Why? Why?
Brooklyn Councilwoman Farrah Lewis spent some time with the grieving family.
They need a lot of support right now. Her husband was the breadwinner of the family, so to know that he was paying for her to go to school, paying for 2 children to go to parochial school, now they have nothing.
As police search for Pass, on Tuesday, anti-violence group Elite Learners Inc. and others were outside the building to denounce gun violence.
We have to come out. We have to let the world know that this is not normal and that we have resources to support those that are in need.
Resources. Money ain't gonna fix this problem, honey. How are you gonna throw money at a problem like this? That's not what we need. We need a culture shock. We need a culture change. We need an acknowledgement, a verbal, political, social, societal acknowledgement from black women specifically that these super gremlins are on demon time.
It was completely uncalled for and senseless, and you took away, you destroyed a family.
In Flatbush, Brooklyn, Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Janquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
Police found 47-year-old Jason Pass this morning in Bath Beach, 3 days after this video was recorded. It shows the moment he shot that father and son who lived upstairs from him in East Flatbush. Officers spotted Pass hiding in his vehicle, and that is when they say that he charged at them with a knife, forcing them to open fire.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo live in Bath Beach with more. Anthony.
Wild scene. What happens today does not end well. That's what police say the murder suspect told them as they faced off. This right here, Jason Pass's vehicle. Police first came upon him in, the interaction turning deadly right under neighbors' noses.
Wow. So you have this brother who essentially crashed out. He completely crashed out. It's crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, we living in a crash out culture.
He was in front of them and they was telling him, get down, put your hands up. He was not listening.
Neighbors watched in disbelief as police say the suspect in a double murder got out of his black CRV in a face-off with cops armed with a knife.
The male jumped out of the car with a knife in his hand and took off running.
Police say Jason Pass had been on the run since Sunday after allegedly shooting 2 upstairs neighbors, killing a father and his stepson over a noise dispute in their East Flatbush building. Cops were looking for this car and found it using a license plate reader in Bath Beach.
This morning, we got a hit on that license plate. This technology is working on behalf of New Yorkers. This technology is protecting New Yorkers,
some of whom were just waking up as cops found the murder suspect in his car right outside their homes on Bay 44th Street.
Our officers on a Wednesday morning at 7:10 doing their job, approaching a person wanted for a double homicide. They did everything they could to neutralize this person.
Police say the armed suspect got out of the car and led cops down the block, where they cornered him at Harway Avenue.
For approximately 15 minutes, they had a dialogue, doing everything they could to have the male drop the knife.
So he had a knife on him. They tried to talk him down. They didn't shoot him immediately. And, you know, he got clapped. Right? I mean, it's just, he did all this for nothing. Threw his life away, had plenty more life to live. Threw it away to crash out. This is the culture that we have created.
Instead, Chief of Patrol John Schell says Pass charged at the officers and they opened fire.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm living here my whole life. My whole life, nothing, you know, I mean, things happen, of course, but not right in front of your house.
Where a barrage of evidence markers now sit. The suspect shot 3 times in the chest and once in the leg, died at a local hospital.
They gave him plenty of chances.
And police right now are obtaining a search warrant for this vehicle as they try to get their hands on that weapon, that gun that was used in the double murder. The vehicle being processed as evidence. Police say that Pass did not have a licensed firearm. He was fired from his job as a state corrections officer for menacing another coworker and has a robbery in his criminal past.
Good to be with you. I'm Gilma Avalos, and police say that suspect, 47-year-old Jason Pass, was found in a car around 7 this morning. He ran, and when police cornered him, they say he lunged at them with a knife. News 4's Miles Miller is in Gravesend with the new details. And Miles, the NYPD says they used a special tool to locate the car.
That's right. That 2-day manhunt came to a deadly end this morning right here on Bay 44th Street in Bath Beach, Brooklyn. You can see behind me there are still officers here as the crime scene is still established. Let's go ahead and show you a video now. Officers tell us it was around 7:30 when police officers here in the 60th precinct got a license plate reader hit, meaning that their car was equipped with a license plate reader technology to read license plates. They got a hit for a car associated with Jason Pass. He, of course, is the 47-year-old man who allegedly shot and killed his neighbor and his neighbor's stepson in a noise dispute at Flatbush Gardens. That's a complex here in Brooklyn. The officers performing that car stop, Pass made a run for it. NYPD Chief of Patrol John Schell picks up the story from there.
For approximately 15 minutes, they had a dialogue, doing everything they could to have the male drop the knife. At the end of this, the male, for some unknown reason, in a full sprint, charged the officers. Our officers were forced to defend themselves, to stop the threat, and discharge their firearm, striking the subject 4 times.
And Pass was rushed to NYU Langone Hospital here in Brooklyn, where he later died from his injuries. Pass is a former state corrections officer, was no stranger to conflict. In fact, he was fired from that job after menacing a cop while off duty in a road rage incident. Pass lived in that apartment at Flatbush Gardens with his mother for some time. They had had an ongoing argument over noise, and police believe that's the reason he engaged in that argument, then led to the shooting of those 2 men at Flatbush Gardens. Police say that the gun he used in that incident was not registered. He was not a legal gun owner of that gun, and they are still doing investigations into what caused that double homicide. Again, Jason Pass dying at a local hospital after charging at NYPD officers who were trying to apprehend him after a 2-day manhunt. That is the latest live here in Bath Beach, Brooklyn. I'm Miles Miller, News 4 New York. Back to you.
Man wanted for allegedly killing the scene in Brooklyn this morning. This is after police shot the man wanted for allegedly killing his neighbors over a noise complaint. Police say 47-year-old Jason Pass lunged at officers with a knife when they tried to corner him, and that's when they fired. News 4's Miles Miller has the latest from Bath Beach.
Jason Pass had been the most wanted man in Brooklyn for 3 days after police say he gunned down his neighbors in a fury over noise. That all came to an end in Bath Beach, Brooklyn, just after 7 this morning. A police car equipped with a license plate reader spotted Pass's car and that he was wanted for murder.
The male jumped out of the car with a knife in his hand and took off running. The officers pursued this male down to Bay 44th and hallway, we were able to isolate and contain this male with the knife still in his hand.
For 15 minutes, cops say they pleaded with him to drop the knife. He apparently told cops this isn't going to end well.
The male, for some unknown reason, in a full sprint, charged the officers.
He was shot 3 times in the chest and 1 time in the leg and died at NYU Langone Hospital in Brooklyn. Police started searching for Pass Sunday night after a deadly dispute at Flatbush Gardens. Police say he shot 47-year-old Vladimir Maturin and his 27-year-old stepson Chin-Wah Mode. Execution style in their building's hallway. The motive? Noise complaints.
This is shocking. This is shocking. And listen, guys, we just have to live good as neighbors. Because I live in a building like what you live into, and if I have issue, I either write my neighbors a note.
And here's the thing. I don't understand how it's shocking anymore. It's time to stop being shocked by this. It is. Because this is normal. This is what I've been preaching the whole time. These super gremlins are on demon time.
In the hallway where the 2 men died, votive candles sit outside the door where they lived. No answer from either family as both prepare to lay their loved ones to rest. And the crime scene unit still here on Bay 44th Street in Brooklyn. You can see the suspect's car still here as well. This is still an active investigation by Brooklyn South Homicide. They're still trying to determine what led Pass to fire shots and kill 2 of his neighbors. We're live in the Bath Beach section of Brooklyn. I'm Miles Miller, News 4, New York.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
So it is what it is.